Um, First, thank you all for coming here. And it's, I always forget kind of after a year how inspiring having such a collection of people together is. But being here again has been very inspiring to me. I wanted to relay a story about, why it's so exciting to have a group of people with such large ambitions on working on really important problems, and how it doesn't always come naturally to people to do this. I mean, I think this group is very special. I think there are many other people out there who can be inspired by that, and I think refocus a lot of the world's energy on some of the largest challenges that we face. But I want to start back just about nearly 20 years ago now, when I was just a student, a grad student at Stanford. I see Anna knew me back then. I see her in the audience now. And I've recounted the story only once. I don't think many people know it. But it relates to the fax machine and how a single fax kind of allowed Google to be born, or the failure of a single fax. So back in, after I started at Stanford early on, obviously the web was a big deal. This was sort of 93, 94, and it was exciting for everybody. And one of the early things my friends and I at Stanford did is decide, oh, the web is great. What we really need is to be able to order pizza online using the web. And now that obviously seems, yeah, of course you can do that, no problem. There are 100 websites where you can order food online and it shows up. But it was a big deal back then. It seemed like great, and we were grad students and we were hungry from time to time. And so we sat down, we wrote a little script that would generate, a little web server. It was much easier back then than it is today, actually. You can have like a 20-line Perl script, but these days a little bit of the web programming is beyond me, I'm afraid. And what it would do is you'd fill out what you want to order, and it would fax that order to the pizza joint, because back then obviously very few people were online. Like pizza places didn't have like email or something like that. But we found they did have listings for fax machines, and back then there was the Internet Fax Service. I can't remember exactly what it was called or how it worked, but there's this trick with DNS, and you would sort of route the digits of the number, and magically that fax would show up there. So we went ahead with the first test, and we decided we would order ourselves a pizza, and we fired up the web server, checked off the boxes with the toppings. I'd manually entered the menu before, hit OK. That fired off the script. It sent it to this internet fax service. Presumably that got delivered to the restaurant, and then we waited, and got hungrier and hungrier. Like after a couple hours, I broke down. And I called the pizza place, said, I faxed you an order. Like, are you going to deliver it? And then the guy said, let me go check the fax machine. And it was then that I realized that this just wouldn't work because the restaurants that even had faxes wouldn't look at them. And therefore, that idea failed. And then I went on to work with Larry on data mining, and then sort of the link structure of the web, and eventually Google was born. But I mean, it's very lucky for me, actually. I mean, back then it was quite possible that that fax, would have gotten picked up. We'd say this is a great idea, and I would have put a lot of energy into, another way to order pizza. It's kind of the randomness of life, the path that takes. But now I've come to recognize that really the challenge of a problem, or the importance, isn't that related to how likely you are to achieve it. And in fact, even when you go after a more ambitious goal, even if you fail to achieve that one, all the side effects that come along the way can be that much more rewarding and significant in their own right. And so, I feel lucky that I fell into doing something that I feel really matters. Getting people information around the world about anything. I wish there was a way to convey that to to the world at large. Obviously, all of you already have this religion, but it's very rewarding when you work on something you think is going to make a big difference. And yeah, it's a little bit harder, but I think the passion that one might bring with it brings so much more energy to that you're more likely to succeed. Anyway, I want to leave you with that thought. I want to share one other thought because, and I think Vinod summarized it nicely. The other thing that we've really found over time at Google, watching at other companies, watching many of you, is the importance of the development cycle and how you really need to be able to churn quickly through things. And because, obviously you're going to have failures. You're going to have the wrong idea. But it's important to fail quickly. It was great that fax didn't go through. It failed quickly. And I think that if you demand a really long development cycle, like let's consider that tokamak that we saw earlier today, having decades and tens of billions of dollars is not a good way to fail quickly. I mean, it's hoping to get a lot of learnings along the way, it's just much less likely to work out. So as Vinod said, and we discussed this, so with Glass, we adopted this philosophy. We were going to develop a completely new version of the hardware and software every single month. And we sustained that, or close to it, for like 7 versions. It's slowed now over time, unfortunately, as we're approaching something that's going to ship. But I think that iteration made a huge difference, and we learned so much with every single variant. And it's just, there are 100 reasons why you should not go that fast. It takes a long time to get your tools made. And in fact, the tooling is a big deal. So I'm glad somebody's working on that. Engineers don't have enough time to do a proper design. This gets shortchanged, that gets shortchanged. I mean, there are 100 reasons not to go fast. But in the end, I'm really glad that we did. And I think I've seen that across a range of products. And ultimately, it forces you to make real trade-offs about what actually is really important. And things that you might have held very dear, say, well, maybe that's not really the key thing. And maybe what we can get in this next month is the really important essence of this thing we're trying to create. So anyhow, with that, I just want to wish all of you luck with your various projects. And it's amazing to see the passion that all of you have. And I'm really excited to see it flourish and all of these ideas come to reality. Thank you.